Blood spread across the sterile white tiles, streaking the polished floor that had just reflected the bright fluorescent lights of the hospital hallway. The echo of gunshots lingered, sharp and cruel, tearing through the silence that followed the end of a long surgery. A young nurse lay trembling, her uniform soaked in crimson, her fingers twitching weakly beside the cold metal tray that had clattered to the ground. The smell of antiseptic mixed with the heavy scent of blood, and for a moment time seemed to stop, the world frozen between life and death, between justice and cruelty. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of the human spirit, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul Tale. Because what you're about to hear is not just a story. It's a journey of pain, courage, and redemption that will stay with you long after it ends. Her name was Maya Torres, 26 years old, a nurse with hands that healed and a heart that believed no wound was too deep to recover from. She worked at Riverside General Hospital, a place once known for saving lives, but recently, whispers filled the corridors about corruption, hidden experiments, and greed hiding behind clean white coats. Maya didn't care about rumors. She cared about her patients, about staying past shifts to hold the hands of the lonely, and about bringing warmth into cold rooms where hope was fading. But one night she noticed something. After a complicated surgery, she was asked to deliver a sealed folder to the CEO's office, a simple task, she thought. But when curiosity got the better of her and she peeked at the first page, her world turned upside down. Inside the folder were documents about illegal medical trials conducted secretly on unconscious patients, people who never gave consent, some who never woke up again, and the signature authorizing it all. Charles Alden, the hospital's CEO. Her breath caught. Her hands shook as she realized she was holding proof of something far darker than she could have imagined. That night, as she walked home, she felt the heavy weight of eyes following her, shadows that lingered too long. Fear crept in, but so did determination. Maya couldn't stay silent. She knew what it meant to speak up, but her conscience wouldn't let her rest. The next morning, she emailed the evidence anonymously to an investigative journalist. But someone inside must have intercepted the message, because just hours later, she was called urgently to the operating room. A surgery had gone wrong, they said. They needed her expertise. It felt strange, but she went because Maya always showed up when a life was at stake. When the surgery ended, she stepped out into the quiet hallway to get a drink of water. That's when she saw him, Charles Alden, flanked by two security officers. His eyes were cold, his jaw tight. "You should have stayed in your lane, Nurse Torres," he said. The next thing she heard was the deafening crack of gunfire. One shot, then another, then three more. Pain ripped through her body like fire. Her knees buckled, and she fell to the ground, the ceiling spinning above her as the world faded into a blur of light and blood. But Maya didn't die that night. By some miracle, or maybe by the strength of every patient she'd ever fought for, she survived. The bullets had torn through her lungs, her shoulder, and her abdomen, but her heart refused to stop. Doctors said it was impossible. But in the darkness of that coma, Maya dreamed of the old woman who used to whisper blessings after every injection, of the little boy who brought her flowers made of paper, of all the people she had helped who believed in her. She wasn't ready to leave. Weeks later, she woke up weak, broken, her body scarred beyond recognition. Her voice was barely a whisper, but she remembered everything. And so did one nurse, her friend Alina, who had seen the hallway cameras before they mysteriously malfunctioned. Together, they began piecing the truth back together. Alina risked her job, sneaking copies of records and sending them to the journalist Maya had once tried to reach. Meanwhile, Charles Alden continued to run the hospital as if nothing had happened. He called it an unfortunate incident caused by a violent intruder. The security tapes were erased, the staff were silenced, and Maya's name disappeared from the payroll as if she had never existed. But she was alive, watching, waiting, healing. Recovery was torture. She couldn't walk at first, her lungs ached with every breath, but her spirit refused to stay still. Every day she whispered to herself, You lived for a reason. Months later, when she could finally stand, she began working quietly with a nonprofit dedicated to exposing healthcare corruption. She didn't want revenge, she wanted truth. When the journalist finally received the documents Alina sent, the truth spread like wildfire. The media exploded with headlines about Riverside General's unethical practices. Whistleblower reports surfaced, linking the CEO and several board members to patient deaths and illegal drug trials. The hospital tried to deny it all, until one day, Maya appeared in front of the cameras, frail but unbroken, standing on her own 2 feet. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "I was supposed to stay silent. I was supposed to die in that hallway, but I didn't because there are people who still believe in doing what's right, no matter the cost." Her testimony, raw and fearless, broke hearts across the country. Within weeks, federal investigations began. Charles Alden was arrested, along with 3 other executives. The hospital's reputation crumbled, but something far greater rose from its ashes, a call for accountability, for compassion, for human decency. Maya became a symbol of courage, not because she survived 5 bullets, but because she refused to surrender her humanity. She returned to nursing eventually, not at Riverside, but at a small community clinic where patients greeted her by name and children hugged her legs. Every scar on her body told a story not of pain, but of persistence. Years later, she was invited to speak at a conference about medical ethics. Standing before hundreds of doctors and nurses, she said softly, "You can break bones, you can scar skin, but you cannot kill conscience. It finds a way to rise every time." If this story touched your heart, if you believe that even in the darkest corners of this world light can still break through, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Soul Tale. Your support helps stories like Maya's reach more hearts, more people who need to remember that bravery isn't loud. It's quiet, bleeding, but unyielding. Before we end, tell us in the comments, what does courage mean to you? Is it surviving the pain or standing back up when the world tries to silence you? Maya's story reminds us that some lives are not saved by medicine alone, but by the unshakable belief that kindness and truth are worth any wound. And somewhere, in a hospital hallway that once echoed with gunfire, a nurse walks again, every step a heartbeat of hope.